Men, this one simple practice could completely transform your home, your relationships, your performance at work, your mental health. Let me tell you why. I'm Ryan Carnahan. I help men transform their relationships and crush their goals. Let me tell you a story. Back when I was a kid, I was in the Boy Scouts and we would go camping a few times a year. And one of the things that we did was making the campsite better than we found it when we were packing up and getting ready to go home. We would all line up in a row and we would do a slow march through the whole campsite and we would pick up any scrap of garbage that we could find, even if it wasn't from us. The end result was that the campground looked pretty darn good. We did this in part to take care of the environment, but also to develop a practice of improving the world everywhere we went. And that stuck with me throughout the years. I love nature. I love taking care of our environment. I don't go out on the weekends and walk up and down the freeway picking up garbage. I don't go out of my way to do these things. But if I happen to be in nature and I see garbage, I'll pick it up. I've talked about this principle before about being in the flow of life. Wherever I happen to be, I make an improvement. Let's make it a little more concrete. Instead of just saying, I make it better than I left it, let's just pick a number 10 things better. If I hold that in my head, then every time I walk into a new space, I think, I'll make this place 10 things better. What does this do for me? First of all, it wakes me up. It stops me from being unconscious in my environment. It brings things to my awareness and helps me notice them. Most of the time, people walk through their environment completely unconscious. It's by habit, and a lot of the times, it's avoidant habits. How many of you have that one space in your home that every time you walk past it, you get a gut punch of embarrassment, frustration, I'll get around to it someday, but you just keep walking? Then think about that space and look back over the past several months. How many repetitions of that emotional experience have you given yourself? If you were to add up how much time you have spent ruminating about that, feeling the frustration, feeling the procrastination, if you added up just the sheer amount of time in minutes and seconds that you've done that, you could have organized and cleaned that space, probably 5 times over. But what happens is we put it off, we say we don't have time, we ignore it, we stuff it down somewhere deep, and in our mind, we perceive it as a bigger and bigger and bigger project that we just don't want to face. What does that build inside you over time? A sense of overwhelm? A sense of anxiousness? A sense of embarrassment or shame? Do you keep kicking yourself inside or blaming other people in your mind? Let's consider the alternative. Every time you walk into that space, let's say you make it just 10 things better. 10 things is really easy to do. It could take 30 seconds. That's less than 1% of an hour, okay? We're not talking gobs of time. You just walk in, 10 things better, and you leave. Now, with that one shift, you're not giving yourself time to go through the avoid procrastination phase of emotional turmoil. You're just going in, getting some stuff done, and leaving. Now, instead of building up repetitions of avoidance, you're building up repetitions of making a difference. You're also reinforcing a really simple belief that you make things better. With every interaction that you have with that space, you're also observing the current state of it. You're getting a sense of what needs to be done. That makes it impossible for the overwhelming anxiety to build up because you're not allowing it to become a big, hairy, scary, unknown project that you don't want to face. Instead, it's become a known project that you can fully see and understand the scope of what's going on, and you're continually seeing progress on it. You're also getting a chance to see that progress happen while feeling a very small emotional commitment. What starts to happen is you get outsized returns for small inputs. By picking a really small number up front, like just 10 things, you're reducing the activation threshold of energy that you need to overcome to get started. It's really easy to convince myself, oh, 10 things? I can do that. It doesn't even have to be picking up 10 things. It could be spending 5 minutes. That can even add an element of fun because then it becomes, what could I do within 5 minutes? How big of a change could I make? So this process works really well for cleaning and organizing environments, but it also can work well for refining processes. How can I get 10 things better at improving how I plan? In a situation like that, maybe 10 things is too many to improve all at once. How could I get 2 things better at how I plan or approach my reflection time? How could I do 1 thing better in my interactions with my kids? The critical thing, though, that makes this practice effective is to do it every single interaction you have, whether that's with the environment or with the relationship, making sure that that's always in the back of your head. Because the moment you stop trying to actively improve things while you're interacting with them is the moment you start slipping back into being subconscious again. How would you feel if your home environment and your work environment became more structured and ordered? If your relationships deepened and strengthened? If your confidence in your ability to improve every area of your life increased, while anxiety and overwhelm decreased significantly? Another thing this practice can do is it reduces the work down to a bite-sized piece. It gets you started. And often, once I get started and I realize, hey, I actually have more than 5 minutes, or, well, I did 10 things, but I could do a few more, then I do a few more. The office space here at my house was one of these spaces. It had become a storage room for all sorts of random things. It kind of became a second garage, and I avoided it for a long time because it was just really overwhelming. The decision fatigue that I imagined myself facing going into that space, all of the things that we would have to decide, should we donate this, should we keep this, it's all the things. And here I am, Christmas break, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to make it 10 things better. So I went in, did 10 things, looked at the clock and said, you know what, I have a little more time right now, I'm going to put a little more time into this. I spent 2 hours in that room, and it is completely done. It took me 2 hours to solve a problem that I had been avoiding for 3 months. So I'm relearning my own lesson, regaining a testimony that the principle works, and I'm sharing it with you so that you can benefit from it too. So if you want to test this principle in your life, pick one area, just one area, and try this out. Every time you walk through that area, 10 things better. I'd love to hear about how your experience goes. Let me know in the comments.